Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, breaking down the latest news and rumors surrounding your Brownies. Now, today's show was filmed during our live show, which airs every Thursday at 4 Eastern. Make sure you tune in and join us next week so that you never miss a thing. And by the way, speaking of tuning in and joining us, we're going to be having another watch party because we set some Chat Sports records. I kid you not. During week 1 against the Panthers, let's break our own record like Myles Garrett might be doing this Sunday. Help me out if you're looking for a spot to watch the game, or have the game on your TV and throw us on your computer, phone, laptop, whatever, and just be a part of our live watch party. Click on this thumbnail come Sunday, 12:45 Eastern, and get locked in. First rumor on today's show we'll be covering. Will 2 records be broken on Sunday? I give this 3 Bernie heads. You might know what one record I'm talking about is. The other one is a bit of a, not as publicized, but it is Myles Garrett, who is 1.5 sacks away from tying the Browns record and 2 sacks away from outright becoming the Cleveland Browns all-time sack leader. It was never a question of if, just a question of when. Honestly, since the first pick back in 2017. He had 2 sacks on last Sunday against Baker Mayfield, including a forced fumble. And what's sweeter QB to sack twice, to become the Browns' all-time sack leader, than Joe Flacco, who is now with the New York Jets, who had success against Cleveland. Let's not sugarcoat it. It sucked for a long stretch. It was bad for a long period of time. Now Joe Flacco sucks, maybe he's being exposed for never really being all that good and being overpaid after that Super Bowl. But here's where Myles Garrett ranks in terms of the all-time Cleveland Browns sack leaders. He is right behind, hopefully, a future Hall of Famer in Clay Matthews. 1.5 sacks behind him. Michael Dean Perry weighs behind him, behind Garrett, that is, at 51.5. Listen, if Garrett doesn't get 2 sacks on Sunday against New York, fine. Get the other sack against Pittsburgh. Either way, I think it's some kind of a sweet justice, so to speak, of Myles Garrett breaks the record either against Joe Flacco, longtime Ravens QB, or Week 3, Thursday night at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But let's show Myles Garrett some love from all of us here. Type 95 if you think Garrett will break the record. I want to see more than 95s in the chat, because I want someone in the locker room to go, hey, Myles, they're all rooting you on, dude. Bring some extra energy and some extra mustard this Sunday coming off the edge. Now, another record that is up for grabs, it's not number 1, but it's still pretty close. It is Nick Chubb, who, frankly, I did the math. He'd have to average a ridiculous amount of yards to ever pass Jim Brown at number 1. But he is not very far off from passing Kevin Mack at number 5. You can see there on your screen, Sergio Dip having the time of his life. But anyway, and once he passes Kevin Mack, might not be this Sunday, but it'll be over the next week or 2. Greg Pruitt is not far ahead of him either, so I am guessing he will for sure finish after 5. But he's going to get to top 4 after the season, and then he'll have his sights set on number 3, Mike Pruitt. Leroy Kelly, that's a bit of a stretch right there to get to 7,000. Could happen. But, yeah, that's a little bit ways down the road, okay? And with that in mind, another great follow on Twitter, by the way, Nick Carnes, who hosts an awesome Browns podcast, just putting out some good mojo into the universe, tweeting out Jonathan Taylor won last year's rushing title with 1,811 yards. Nick Chubb is currently on pace to rush for 2,300, basically 2,400 yards. Will he be able to sustain 141 yards a game? Probably not. It'll probably be closer to 200, right? If we're going to go that way. But no, it's fun to see that because Nick Chubb is off to a fantastic start, as expected. He is currently 4th on the NFL rushing leaderboard behind DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, and then Saquon Barkley, who is making a decent case for NFL Comeback Player of the Year. There's no QB who's coming off a horrible injury, unless I'm forgetting one, that's kind of a shoo-in, sort of like Burrow and Dak Prescott last year. So let's move on, though, to the next segment of today's show. the trade segment of the show. D'Ernest Johnson to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm only going to give this one Bernie head. It's more than fake news, because when there's smoke, there's fire, but I haven't actually seen any smoke from where it's important, right? From the chimneys of Berea or Santa Clara. No, it's been from the chimneys of people online just connecting some dots, because as Adam Schefter pointed out a couple of days ago, 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell is expected to be sidelined about 2 months. Now, you don't have to know a ton about football to know the 49ers just like to do one thing primarily, and that's run the football, right? And right now, they're a little bit thin at arguably their most important position, especially when you take into account Jimmy Garoppolo is not the QB. It's Trey Lance, who, whether you like him or you hate him, he is, in my eyes, a rookie QB that needs some help from the ground game. And he needs help from key members on his offense, like George Kittle, who is dealing with a groin injury. So might San Francisco decide to go out and acquire more of a proven back to back up Jeff Wilson? Because the last thing Shanahan wants to do after an 0-1 start is let this season get away from him, because he doesn't have a good stable of running backs at his arguably most important position. Now, the Browns could probably live without D'Ernest Johnson. It's only been 1 week, so it's really hard to have big takeaways from what Stefanski and AVP's game plans are week in and week out, which is a small sample size. But D'Ernest Johnson did not touch the rock in week 1, so maybe we could see that happen here. But if a trade were to happen, I would pencil it in whereas like D'Ernest Johnson goes for like a 6th-round pick. You're not going to see a sexy return for an RB3, right? The 49ers, they don't have necessarily a ton of leverage here. The Browns could kind of dangle Johnson above him and go, hey, you desperately need a running back. You're down to one proven because the other 2 guys on your roster are rookies who we haven't seen a ton of, and you need to run the football to help Trey Lance get more accustomed to the NFL. We'll give you him, take him for a 6. But what do you think? Should the Browns trade D'Ernest Johnson? T for trade or P for pass? When it comes to trading Johnson, if he's just going to ride the bench all season, in hindsight, it makes sense, right? But on the same side, the other side of the coin, if something were to happen to Chubb or Hunt, D'Ernest Johnson is the best 3rd-string running back in the NFL. You would feel very comfortable with him filling in for them. So let me know what your votes are down below in the comments section. Before we get to the rest of the show, I want to tell you about our proud sportsbook partner, BetUS. They are back with us for another season, and they are back to giving the Dog Pound awesome deals, like a 125% deposit bonus by going to chatsports.com/bet, promo code Browns125. Now, if that's not a good enough reason for you to want to get partnered with them, how about this right here? You want a new Browns jersey? Like I'm rocking my new Amari Cooper jersey. You want to get Deshaun Watson home or away? Or say you want a Myles Garrett jersey. This could be yours by just getting started with BetUS. By going to chatsports.com/bet and using promo code Browns125 here at Chat Sports, on us, we're going to send you guys a free jersey. No hoops to jump through. Nothing like that. Just email us, jersey@chatsports.com, once you complete these steps. Signing up, have to go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code. When you put 100 bones in, they give you an additional 125 on top. Make your first bet. Email us a screenshot of that first bet, jersey@chatsports.com. And here's the best part. Tell us what jersey you want, right? Do you want a Deshaun Watson jersey, a Myles Garrett jersey? What color? What size? And next thing you know, you will be in the Mooney lot with a brand new Cleveland Browns jersey. I've got mine on right now thanks to Chat Sports. You should do the same. That link is in the for the email is in the comments and the description of today's show. Okay, let's check out the final segment of the show now. Are the Browns beating the Jets this Sunday? I give this 3 Bernie heads. Producer Patrick was offended when I didn't do 4 Bernie heads for Believe One. But I have some good intel, right? Some good ears on the inside of the walls of the Cleveland Browns that Stefanski shows this show before every single meeting. And if I do 4 Bernie heads, that's going to make their heads way too big. Got to keep them a little bit hungry. Make them doubt them just the tiniest a bit to get them firing all cylinders. But talking about this Week 2 matchup, I absolutely do believe the Cleveland Browns are going to win this one. They're 6.5-point favorites. In my opinion, it is the NFL. Any given Sunday, Al Pacino, anything could happen. But if the Browns were able to defeat the Panthers on the road, and in my opinion was a tougher matchup, they should be able to handle the Jets. Now, there is something to be said about this Jets team that you don't want to sleep on necessarily, and that is that their defense under Robert Saleh, the second-year head coach, not half bad, right? Actually, in Week 1 against Baltimore, they held the Ravens to 63 rushing yards. Now, they have been known to get off to bad starts lately. 0-2 for the last 3 seasons. They lose on Sunday, make it 4. As for the Browns, they had the second most rushing yards in Week 1. So it's kind of oil and water, right? Which side is going to win? And the Browns looking for that first 2-0 start since 1993. Now, if that's not good enough reason right there as to why I think the Browns will get off to a good start thanks to their ground game, thanks to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, there is a lot of support from the players coming to the fan base right now. Amari Cooper was asked about what he expects to see out of fans from his first time playing in First Energy Stadium as a Cleveland Brown on Sunday. And he said, "From what everyone tells me, it's a crazy atmosphere. I can't wait." But what about someone who was with the team last season, like JOK? On his excitement for the first game at home, looking forward to the fans being very, very loud. Like very, very loud. So if you are going to the game, you know your job, right? Be loud on third down. Make life miserable for Joe Flacco and the New York Jets. I think the Browns are going to take this one, but who do you got? We'll end today's episode with this question right here. I think the Browns win this one 24-14. Similar offensive production as of last week, but the defense doesn't bend as much as they did in Week 1 in the fourth quarter. Let me know your score predictions down below.